Alright, today we're going to build a team using two of the mana pets that have probably the fewest sensible use cases, let's say. And they are Warf and Kitsune. So I think both of these pets have some interesting properties. They're kind of unique in the sense that I think Warf is the only pet in the game that has the gained mana trigger. I don't know why it's the only one. I mean, it seems kind of wasteful to actually create that trigger and then only use it on one pet. But yeah, hopefully in the future they might add another one so that we're not completely reliant on Warf for these types of effects. As we find it here on turn 4, and we've got the dromedary stack, so we're just going to keep it frozen. I wasn't really intending on using Warf in the early turns anyway, because I think its effect is only going to be powerful enough, I think, for what I want to do in the late game when we get access to some better perks and support units. Now actually here we luckily get a second Warf in the left-hand slot beside the frozen one. So I think here I'm going to freeze everything up by the slug and then by the Warf, and then keep buffing the other one in the shop. So the other pet to go with the Warf is Kitsune. Now Kitsune is another odd case in that there's really only one pet that it works with that makes much sense, and that's Chimera. I've definitely done some videos in the past where we've used other pets with Kitsune, but ultimately it's just not that great if you don't have the massive summons coming from the Chimera at the end of the round. But what I want to do here is have Kitsune give mana to the Warf. I mean, I guess they were designed to work together. It's just that in practical terms, it just doesn't make a lot of sense because they don't do enough damage. The Warf is only going to do, 3 damage per snipe at level 3. So you really need a way to boost that damage output if you're going to have success using this type of combo. So we're definitely going to be looking for Kiwano, which is the perk that adds +8, or is it +10? I forget. It adds a flat damage boost to the first snipe. And then actually Warf was changed a while back so that the first snipe that it does, the damage is tripled. So at level 3, it's going to do 9 damage from the first snipe, I think. So, I mean, it's kind of odd, really, but it's something, and we'll take it for the purposes of this team. Odd team here, but they've got the Jackal, but they don't have any flings, and they still beat us, which I guess isn't surprising. And then we're just going to put rice on everything to try and make it easier to find Kitsune. We're just going to run Warf with no mana, which is, it doesn't feel right, but we're just going to have to do it because we haven't got the other pets that we need yet. So there's Kitsune. Unfortunately, it just misses out on the buffs from the dromedaries. That was kind of a shame, but we did get lucky earlier in the game. And we're actually just going to take the red dragon, and then we'll freeze Kitsune, and then look at that, we roll into another one. So we had a tiny bit of misfortune there, but then it kind of corrected itself. Mothman here with the leaf gecko, which you don't see very often, but the leaf gecko ends up giving dazed to Nurse Shark, so that was another slice of good luck. And I think here we can just switch into having the Kitsune, and then we'll put Lemon on it because we know it's going to be at the back, and then we bring our wolf back to give some extra feints. So every time a pet faints on our team, Kitsune will give 1 mana to the Warf, or maybe it's 2 mana. Yeah, and then the Warf snipes. So you can see there the first snipe, the damage was increased, but then every subsequent snipe is only doing 2 damage, which is pretty awful. Now, one obvious way you could make this better is just play Toad or some other ailment dispensing unit that is going to multiply the damage from the Warf. But I don't think I end up doing that in this game. I really just wanted to see if we could try and get a victory without relying on ailments so much. And the way we're going to try and do that is by taking Albatross. So I shouldn't really have sold the Bay Cat there. I probably should have kept it instead of moving the wolf forwards, because we obviously know we're not going to get one of the snipes from the wolf, summons from the wolf. And actually Bay Cat beside Albatross could potentially produce a Lynx, I think, in which case the snipe damage would be boosted, but we get away with it there. And yeah, okay, now I'll get rid of the wolf, buy sell the crow for next round, and then take the blobfish. So really we just want to face a bunch of summon teams, and then the matchmaking says, okay, here's one. This person actually only plays summons. I feel like they were one of the people who was gifted a pack randomly in a video previously, but I don't think they actually use it. Maybe they don't know that they have access to it. I don't know. But yeah, now we can upgrade to level 2 Albatross. And actually pilling something in the shop causes Kitsune to activate. And then we'll probably take the Anteater. I could actually just take the Mushroom Slug here and play the 4 squad. Yeah. And it's another Nurse Shark team. Is this the same person? But the double lemon could actually save us here, I think, because the Nurse Shark hitting everything, I mean, it's going to hit all 3 units. But I think the 2 in the backline are both going to survive. Yep. And the snipes go off before the Albatross completely faints. And then the doggo isn't big enough, so we actually win by 1 HP. That was a really satisfying round. And then we just need the blobfish to get to level 3. So Albatross then is adding another 9 damage per snipe. So, you know, you're getting up to the territory of blowfish damage, with the obvious disadvantage that you can't play tiger behind the Warf, and you can't play elephant in front of it either. But yeah, it's still working reasonably well, and I think we're going to be able to chip down the health on this doggo as well. And of course, the odd case with Warf as well is that it doesn't spend any mana. So for every snipe, it's gaining extra mana, and then you end up with a massive mana snipe at the end. Okay, probably could just sell the blobfish now. Yeah, sell the blobfish, take the Bay Cat. And then who's this going to be in the final battle? It's actually Rev GT. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers Rev. He was an Australian YouTuber for Super Auto Pets. You know, he used to put... He wasn't a very good player, but he tried his hardest, and he had a funny Australian accent. But in real life, he's just been way too busy to make videos for a long time, so I guess it's not surprising that people would forget who he is. But yeah, very fun final battle. I believe he was playing a random pack there, and nice to see him in the arena. Alright, on to the next game. Now we're going to try and iterate on that previous build, make it a bit more spicy. And the way we're going to try and do that is by running double Warf. So actually we're going to run double Warf and double Kitsune. So something that really makes very little sense if you're trying to win, but it does look pretty fun when you get it going. So a pet will faint at the front. It's probably just going to be Slug again, or maybe Beluga with something inside. I forget. Actually here, worth pausing to note that we immediately get another level 3 dromedary from the Griffin, which then gets buffed by the other dromedary and is now going to give us the opportunity to have both Warf and Kitsune being cooked for +5/+5 per turn on turn 7. Which seems pretty unfair. I mean, it's way better than Polar Bear, and it's 2 tier 2 units. And I think I'm actually just going to take Kitsune now, yeah. We're on 1 heart as well, which is kind of funny because you'd think this kind of odd team, you would need loads of hearts to get anywhere. But I think that stat injection from the dromedaries is really going to help. So yeah, to get back to how the team is going to function, Kitsune obviously gives the mana to the Warf when a pet in front faints. But if we have double Kitsune and double Warf, we can actually make it so that a single feint will trigger both Warfs one after the other. So here I'm realizing that, Dromedary Greed is all good, but ultimately we're not going to be able to keep buffing forever. We have to bring something solid into the team since we're on 1 heart. There's someone with level 2 blue whale and 3 hearts, so I mean they've basically won their game already. I think in a lot of these runs I didn't bother leveling the Warfs because it mostly doesn't make a huge amount of difference to the damage. But yes, I think we could potentially level into Quetzalcoatl to help speed up that leveling process. I forget exactly what was in this pack. This game was actually recorded at the end of July, so we're back to having a ridiculous backlog of lots and lots of builds waiting to see the light of day. So yeah, against all odds, we're winning these rounds, and here we go, we get the second Kitsune. Now there is Polar Bear there. It would be nice to increase the stats on Kitsune to try and prevent it fainting, but I think realistically we just have to take it now, and we can actually put Mushroom on it. So, okay, I'm going to put it on the one at the back. Look at that. I mean, how lucky is that? A chocolate frozen, and then we roll 2 mushrooms. So you'll see the build work here, even though we have the wolf at the front, which doesn't make a lot of sense. The mana gets passed from the Warf at the back to the Warf in the front, and then causes an extra snipe. And then the mushroom on the Kitsune actually causes 2 more snipes as well. And this opponent had the blue fish guy that that didn't have an ailment there, so not sure what was going on. Maybe that was just an achievement run. So now we get the slug, which is a nice upgrade. It's now 3 feints without needing any extra spaces. Hippo seems like a pretty hard counter to this type of team. But actually, their backline units are very weak. And the Warf is going to be able to chip them down. And then, yeah, the turtle has nothing to give melon to in the end. So we can't add any more feints here. I guess we can just buy... we could buy Kiwano. I think maybe Pineapple is better. I'm not sure. It's hard to decide because obviously with Kiwano, the first snipe could hit equipment on an opposing unit and do no extra damage at all. Whereas Pineapple is just a tiny bit of extra damage spread out. And then look at this. This seems like another hard counter. We get Face Elder first, who only plays snipes. And it seems like we're in big trouble, but the mushroom does a lot of good work. And the snipes are going to chip away, and then the big mana snipe comes in and knocks out the lynx. So turn 14 now, we're getting into the territory where it seems like this kind of team should have no chance. We're actually on 9 trophies now, and 1 heart, so it's win or bust at this point. I think I'm just going to not bother leveling up the slug. Yeah, we just don't gain enough benefit from doing that. And then it's an opposing double dromedary team, actually both level 1 dromedaries on turn 14. So not sure exactly what was going on here. Good hits from the Warf. They're concentrating all their fire onto the lemur, which is the pet gaining the stats from the camel. And then we need this mana snipe to hit the big dromedary. And the RNG delivers. So there we go, the 1-up. Kitsune gets the win. Incredibly awkward team to run, but we just got incredibly lucky throughout that game.